my name is Becky and today I thought we could do the Meet My MC tag. I decided today would be a good idea for this tag because obviously it's NaNoWriMo and it just seemed like a good time to introduce people a bit more to my main character. So before we get into the questions, I will quickly go over who she is. So the main character of the book I'm writing for NaNoWriMo is Alice King. She is a 17-year-old girl from the city of York in the northeast of England. She's also one half of the book's twin duo Alice and Bo, and she's definitely the more bubbly character out of the two of them. So question 1 is which character from a popular book or series would make a good best friend for your main character? And for this I chose Magnus Bane from the Bane Chronicles and also every other book in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I chose Magnus because him and Alice are very alike in a lot of ways. They're both quite big personalities and they're both quite into fashion, and I do think they'd have a fun time shopping with each other and like choosing out outfits while like their boyfriends sit in a corner and sort of brood and attempt small talk whilst they're like shopping. I do think they just get along really well. They have the same kind of over the top energy, the same sort of like extroverted party energy, and I think they would not only bounce off each other but also kind of be big enough personalities to contain each other as well. It did take me a while to think of this because I was sat for ages like, who out there is a big enough personality to handle Alice and has the same sort of hobbies as her? And then after a while I was just like, Magnus. Obviously it would be Magnus Bane. Which, to be fair, I think anybody would want to be friends with Magnus Bane. Question 2 is which character from a popular book or series would make an interesting fight for your main character? This I had to think about quite a lot because I couldn't work this out. She's not a fighter, Alice. She has absolutely zero fighting skills. She doesn't fight at all, I don't think, in the book. There's no reason for her to be fighting. She's just this teenage girl. And so I was trying to work out who she would fight and like who that would be an interesting fight against, because the majority of people, it wouldn't be interesting. They'd just like murder her in 3 seconds straight. So I was trying to think about who it would be interesting to watch her fight, and in the end I decided on Cardan Greenbriar from The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I chose Cardan because it's mentioned a lot within The Cruel Prince that he can't fight either, and he kind of prefers to read and brood, I guess, than learn to fight. So that would make him a fairly decent opponent, I think, for Alice, who also cannot fight. However, on top of that, I do think she just absolutely roasts the living daylights out of him, which is something that I personally would want to watch. There's a lot you could say about Cardan as a person and his appearance, including the tail. There's a lot you could get out of that, so I do think she'd absolutely rip him to shreds mentally and then maybe physically, you never know. Question 3 is what character from a popular book or series would make a good love interest for your main character? And I had a lot of trouble with this one, like so much, to the point I almost didn't come up with an answer for this because outside of Alice's love interest within the book, Rhubarb, I couldn't think of anybody who she would actually get along with in a romantic way. I decided that she probably wouldn't do well dating people who have the same personality as her. I do think dating other big personalities would kind of cause problems because they just clash heads. I think that's the kind of personality she'd definitely have as a friend, but on a romantic level, I don't think that would work very well. And so I was thinking more about Rhubarb and other characters I know who are like him. He's very quiet, he's very in on himself. They kind of balance each other out in that aspect, and I was trying to think of other characters that are similar to him. And in the end I went for Gansey from The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I chose Gansey because for a start there's lots of different sides to Gansey. He's not like one person every time you see him. Whether or not that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But one side we see of him a lot is when he's sort of with his friends and he's sort of more quiet and very in on his research and just sort of sat doing his own thing, and I do think that's the kind of energy that Alice would do well around. He's also very similar to Rhubarb in some ways, such as his passion for things. Obviously Gansey is very enthusiastic about his search for Glendower. That's not the kind of thing that Rhubarb's into. He's very much into like gardening and things, but it's still that kind of enthusiasm towards something that also isn't overly energetic. And so I think Alice would quite enjoy like bouncing ideas off Gansey, and also he'd definitely get on with the rest of the characters from that series, especially Ronan. She would get on so well with Ronan, and I just think it would be a dynamic that she would fit into really easily, and so that's why I chose Gansey. Question 4 is which story from a popular book or series would your main character feel most comfortable being thrown into? And for this I chose the world of Harry Potter. For a start, I think this is just kind of like the answer everybody gives, even if you're not like a bookworm, especially in England where like everybody under the sun has watched Harry Potter and like can quote it off by heart. I think everybody's go-to answer is just, yeah, I'd go to Hogwarts. I also think Alice would enjoy the magical aspect aspects of it. There is some magic within my story, although very different, but they're kind of similar in some ways, and I do think she'd enjoy kind of getting to see more of that sort of magic. She can also be a little bit competitive, and I do think she'd enjoy trying to learn all of the different spells and things and like getting to the top of her class. And also the social aspects that come with Hogwarts and the danger that comes with Hogwarts. I do think it would be something she'd find quite fun, especially all of the jinxes and the hexes and things that go on. She could have a joke and a laugh and do magic at the same time, and I think she'd be very fond of that. Question 5 is, which story from a popular book or series would your main character feel most out of place in? And for this, I chose The World of the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. The reason I chose specifically The Mortal Instruments instead of one of the other books in the Shadowhunter series is because of the story of the Mortal Instruments. Alice isn't one for drama. She's maybe one for watching drama from afar, but nothing that's like too in your face. She's much more just there for like a good time than she is for like any sort of issues. And so I do think the amount of drama that takes place, not even plot-wise, but like subplot-wise, within the Mortal Instruments would just absolutely drive her insane. And that's mainly due to the Shadowhunters. I think the Warlock she'd get on with dead well. We've already covered that I think she'd get on well with Magnus, and I think that's the same for like most of the Warlocks we see. But the Shadowhunters just have so much drama 24/7 that I just don't think she'd be able to deal with it. All of the love triangles and that brief incest thing that went down, and all of the other just back and forth that characters do in this book, I just don't think she'd really be able to get on with many of them. I think they'd all drive each other insane, especially Jace. I think she'd very much butt heads with Jace. I could see them very much becoming like a situation where neither of them can be there at the same time. Like, what's the quote from Harry Potter? Like, neither can live while the other survives. Like, that would be her and Jace. And for those reasons, I just don't think she'd feel very comfortable in their world. Question 6 is, your main character is getting sorted into a Hogwarts house. Which one would they be in? And Alice would be a Gryffindor. I haven't taken the quiz or anything, but I just know she'd be a Gryffindor. Some of them, when I'm making the characters, as I'm thinking of them, I'm like, God, you would definitely be that Hogwarts house. And she would, hands down, be a Gryffindor. She could maybe be a Hufflepuff in some ways, such as her need to look after people and to be liked by everybody and to have big groups of friends. However, when it comes down to it, she definitely has more Gryffindor energy in the sense of being very defensive and also very ambitious. She's also a very brave person. She's very confident. She definitely wouldn't back down for a fight even if she can't fight. She's the kind of person, if somebody squared up to her, despite having no fighting skills and being 5'5", she would fight them. She would also be like the life of the party. She would be the really confident one who everybody wants to get to know. She'd just be like flying above everybody else. There's no anxiety when it comes to this. So I do think she would be the Gryffindor of the scenario. And finally, question 7 is, if you could meet your main character, what would you say? Sorry. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the very end. Please do tell me about the main characters in your Nano projects down below. I will definitely go through and look at them all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye!